Fine. Okay, Jesus.
Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Hunter Mallard.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we are going to Fantasyland Wickery, which just makes me think of baskets. And then all the baskets are wicker. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Published January 19th, 2021. Audra, oh, you're gonna have to help me there. Audra?
Yep, Audra.
Jatin.
That's how they pronounced it anyways.
Audra and Jatin. Oh gosh, no. No! I listened to the audiobook first. A year ago, so it's no help whatsoever. Audra and Jatin live in a world where the gods have blessed the people with magic. Most are lucky to know 4 types, but being future rulers, they must work all 9. With high expectations, widespread corruption, and a shadow organization threatening to destroy everything they love, can they save the world, or will this game of politics tear them apart permanently? So this is a me pick. I read it a year ago, and I liked it. I'm going to laugh if you hated it, though.
No, I actually liked it.
Haha, win. So what is that? What is the score here? It's technically 1 for 3. You're 0 for 2.
Are we really doing this? Are we really trying to keep score on this?
I will gladly keep score with you. Although, maybe we should just count series that we've tried, because books is going to be complicated. We'll do series. So I'm 1 for 2, and you're 0 for 1.
Yeah, I guess so.
There we go. We now have the tally.
Okay, good to know.
Background for this author. This is the author's debut novel. She's very new. I think she's only written this one and the sequel to this. It's a duology, since apparently all we can do is read 2 books. So, yeah, I liked it, and so here we are. Age level. So this is a young adult. And for content warning, we have death of a parent, death of a child mentioned. They don't really bring it up that much at all. Death of a spouse, language, blood, graphic violence, and sexual assault is mentioned. So to judge a book by its cover, it's indie and high fantasy, which is what I was kind of excited about.
I was excited about it too. I'm not gonna lie.
Also, you can tell right off, oh, they get together.
Yeah, with the cover and everything. Yeah.
It's one of those covers. It has both of them. There are some YA covers that try to be like covert about it and just have one of them, but this one had both of them, and they don't even look like they hate each other.
No, they look like they're fighting together.
Yeah, which they do.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so they obviously get together, and then it's a little bit fun throw in that it's enemies to lovers. She looks super serious, and he looks like a nice guy.
Yeah.
She's serious, and he's just got a neutral expression.
I gotta be honest, this is not my favorite enemies to lovers trope.
The not knowing that they're in love with the person that they're in love with?
No, just the dynamic of they're not really enemies. I prefer the ones where they're from different warring kingdoms, sort of enemies to lovers, not arranged marriage and they just don't like.
So the trope for this one is it's arranged marriage and they hate each other for reasons. So that's where the enemies comes in, because they're like, ugh, I don't want to marry you. But then they both go undercover and fall in love with each other anyway.
It's just a silly reason to be enemies, and so that's, I guess, what I don't... I mean, it's whatever.
The quote on the cover, which I've never seen before, but their marketing team is better than I am. 2 royal heirs arranged to be married. They made their own arrangements. I like that. That's good. The one on the next one is perish in silence or rise in fire. That sounds terrifying.
That does.
That was very ominous. It went from, hey, guess what? This is probably a romantasy, to the other one where it's like,
dark.
Suffer or die.
Yeah, went dark quick.
Okay. So yeah, it's that same trope from Disney Sleeping Beauty that I love, where it's like, oh no, I have to marry a princess, but I'm in love with this other girl. Let me tell my father that I need to marry this other girl. Except, I mean, it doesn't go that far in this one. All the adults know what's going on, except not realizing exactly that, oh yeah, they don't realize that they're both undercover, but I like it. I like that trope. I think it's fun.
It is fun, but I couldn't take it very seriously.
Why? Because you were like, they're going to get together. This is obvious.
Yeah. It was kind of silly. There's a lot of parts that are just kind of silly.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I liked it. It's just one of those things where just because of it, it's not going to be one of my favorites.
This is another book that has a lot of tropes that I like, so meh. That's the only way you're going to get me to read a romance book. Sorry, pick a romance book. You've already made me read a romance book where I'm side-eyeing all the tropes.
Oh, no, I like the tropes. There's nothing wrong with it. When they actually get together, like they figure it out and they have the talk or whatever, man, do they just go into just disgusting couple mode immediately. Jesus.
They make out, aka.
It's how they act too around other people and everything.
Please, they had so much tension leading up to making out. They were just relieved they could finally make out.
And then the guy perspective is, it's pretty good, but I can definitely, after realizing the author, because I didn't know she was a female until the end of the book, I was like, that makes a little bit more sense.
Her name's Dana.
I didn't look at the name.
Oh, you didn't see who the author was?
No, I didn't do any research on the author at all. I was just like, this looks cool, and just went on reading it.
Hit play.
Yeah, that was it. So then when she had at the very end the author thing where she comes on and is like, thank you for and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I was wondering.
Yeah, it is definitely more female targeted, and I'm not complaining because they do the thing I like. And Audra's a freaking amazing, awesome, cool person.
Yeah.
Thank you for making a power couple. Yes, I love power couples.
And done right, too. I think she did it right.
Both so cool and different.
Yeah. I like the whole, they're both powerful and cool in their own respects, but then you put them together and they just complement each other really well. It's not like one overpowering the other or whatever. I think it fits.
Yeah, I feel like the dynamic is always, he's amazing and awesome because your target is a female audience, so you have to convince them to like the guy, but they're supposed to empathize with the girl, so you don't have to put a lot into her. And it's like, no, Audra's awesome! She finds out that something bad happens to someone close to her, and she's like, cool, I'm gonna start underground cage fighting and take down a criminal organization. Just your casual, everyday, just girly stuff.
Yeah, I want to know, this girl's time management must be impeccable. Because she does a lot.
Top tier. Though she has talked about how she burns out a lot.
Yeah.
So there's that. But anyway, it starts with them meeting. She's 8, he's 9. She doesn't have any magic yet. He has all of the magic. So he's a jerk about it because he's 9. And she ends up hitting him. And Audra's like, crap, we're gonna get murdered.
Oh man, I gotta say, throughout the whole book, both the fathers are amazing. I love them so much.
They're pretty cool. I like the mom too.
I like the mom too, but both fathers are just so good. I don't know. I feel like the author was definitely a daddy's girl, 100%.
Okay, here's the thing that I appreciate. Both family units feel different. The fathers, both are really cool, but they're cool in their own different way.
Well, yeah.
Hey, don't say, well, yeah. Not all authors can do that.
Well, I mean, it's two different dynamics, though. One's a father and a mother, and the other one's just a father, so that's going to affect them differently.
Yeah, I know, psychologically, but actual writing style and ability to portray that.
That's what you're, okay.
Character development. And I like, there are a lot of female characters, and most of the female characters don't have a big role in this because it's a huge portion. Audra and Jatan, and then everyone else is kind of very small potatoes. But even in those small moments, you can tell the difference between the female characters. Very much appreciated. Always like that.
Yeah, but yeah, she just smacks the crap out of him.
Yeah, and for the rest of the book, everyone will say that she punched him. And I kind of love that because that is accurate to life.
It is.
If you have friends that you've had forever or family friends or something, you did something as a child that you will never hear the end of. It's just facts. But Jatan ends up flying. He's like, oh, nothing happened. And their parents are like, okay. So the only person that doesn't get a first name is Maharaja of Napur.
Mm-hmm. I'm impressed.
Everyone else gets a first name. Her father, the Maharaja of Belwar, almost didn't get a name, but her mom says his name when Adra's dying. So he gets a name. So the Maharaja of Napur laughs, and that's just his personality. He reminds me of the Sultan in Aladdin, but a competent leader.
Yeah.
He's short. Oh, I guess he's skinny, but that's kind of the only description you get of him. So I kind of thought of him like with a big white beard and whatever. So, But he is just a fun guy. And so that begins the friendship of Audra and the Maharaja of Napur and not Jatan.
Because he gets shipped off to school, private school.
Yeah, and he's got trauma with that.
Just a little.
That he works out, which I'm very proud of him. But he is very upset that he feels feels like his father just cast him off to go to school, where Audra got to stay home. And she kind of feels the opposite. She's like, I wish I could have gone and studied with all those people. Maybe I'd be better at magic and stuff. So that is a whole character arc. But hey, this book begins with him coming back from school. And apparently he's a jerk that writes letters with ice, which I have questions.
It's magic.
So he writes love letters. And then he hides a secret message in it with ice. How?
It's magic.
How does no one notice? Does it not freeze when it travels? Or melt when it travels? Does it not make the paper wet? How does no one else notice that there's ice on this paper? How can it be folded? I have physics questions. And I know I shouldn't because it's a high fantasy. What?
It's literally just magic. Accept it and move on. That's all you gotta do.
I have physics questions.
Okay.
I also have political questions about the white god, but we'll get to there. The magic system is based on colors, which is very cool. As I stated earlier in the intro, the red is fire, orange is being able to manipulate your body, like make you faster, make you stronger, whatever. Yellow is wind, green is earth, blue is water, purple is being able to create shields and weapons, black is being sneaky, and white is ice magic. Now in pink is healing. So each wizard has the ability to cast a number of them, but they will have a specific forte. And so Audra's she's a red forte. So all of her magic is red. So even if she casts a shield, it'll be a red shield instead of a purple shield or whatever. And then he is a white forte. That is like ice and snow, which is apparently her weakest, because I kind of want to talk about the god politics already.
That's so far into the book, though.
But it isn't. It's a lot of the book, but we don't realize it's a lot of the book because it's explained at the end. She sucks at casting white magic. And he's very good at it, obviously, because white forte. But she sucks at white magic, which is the problem, because she needs to pass this god test where she can cast all 9 sufficiently, because if she doesn't, she can't be the ruler of her country.
Belwar.
You have to be able to do all 9 to be a ruler. Fair. That's always been an issue, is her white magic. And then you find out, so they have something called a touch, which I think of like henna on your hands, and it's supposed to go up both of your hands, but she only has it on one hand. And apparently that means 2 gods are fighting over you, which is true. We find out at the end. And the 2 gods that were fighting over her are the red god and the white god. And so the red god won. And so the white god was just like, screw you. We hate you.
Yeah.
You can't do my magic. And then when it comes to the test later, he just straight up tries to kill her.
I mean, the red goddess did say he was melodramatic.
Murder is not melodramatic. Murder is not melodramatic. I want that on a t-shirt. No one will understand the context of that, but murder is not melodramatic here. And maybe they'll talk about it more in the next book, because it seems super short-sighted, because she's marrying a white forte. And he's a very strong white forte, so you have your champion. Why are you trying to kill her? I have questions. Hunter!
I mean, the gods are just petty. He's just sore loser.
Granted, this whole book, they seem like destiny gods, like, oh, we have chosen your destiny, we are whatever, blah, 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 we hold all the pieces or whatever. And you get to the end and you meet the red goddess and she's like, no.
That's not how it works.
She makes it very clear that they are not destiny gods. They don't choose anything. They don't even have the omnipotence to see the future. They're just like, you would be powerful. I choose you. And then they see what happens. And so it just feels like they're definitely free will gods. I think that's the problem, because she gets upset at the end because the villain has green magic. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm blessed with the gods, but he's blessed by the gods too. And I'm honestly wondering if they all just see all the 8-year-olds hanging out or whatever and pick their favorites, pick their champions, and then they're just left to see what happens.
I mean, her uncle? No, not her uncle.
It's Jotun's uncle, yeah.
Yeah. Jotun's uncle has apparently communicated with his god several times.
Yeah, apparently he's almost died, quote unquote, which is how she meets her god. 5 times?
Yeah. So, apparently they can communicate via that way. I mean, they kind of are just like, hey, I can sense that this person can become very powerful. I want this one. And then the other gods are like, but I want him. And then he communicates with that person later, hey, have everyone worship me and no one else, you know? Something like that.
I don't know, because let's get to the villain a little bit, because the story is actually very straightforward and we can grease through it in like 5 minutes, but there's so much world building here, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. So this guy Mulik, Maharaja Mulik, who is over the country of Mulik, last names are places, it makes sense. And he is a green forte. He is apparently the villainous villain of all villainry here, except for like a chapter, but then he's back to being the villain. His country, which you didn't get to see it because you had an audiobook, but there is a map. I like the map. It's a very good map. I wish I had a physical copy so I could reference it more easily. But the point is there is a map. And so Mulik is this huge country to the north. And then you have Belware is the southwest. Nippur is to the east, all the way to the east. So they're right next to each other. And then there's a couple of other countries. But we're just kind of focusing on the west portion. So Mulik is huge. It has forest, it has mountains, it has, oh my gosh, that's adorable. Oh my gosh, there's a lake. And she wanted to make it really clear it was water. So whoever drew this drew fish. Hunter, you're so cute. There's just this giant lake, and then there's these 3 like children drawing level fish in the lake.
That's adorable.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I just noticed that. So they have a giant lake and just everything.
Gosh, the academy is so far.
So the academy, to make it very clear, Nippur is the most west you can be. The academy is literally the most east you can be. It is all the way over on the other side of the country. Wait a second. There are 3 lakes here, and only one of them have fish. I have questions. Nope, we're not going to do this.
They don't all need fish.
Okay, so huge country. That's the point, right? Mulik's huge, right? Nippur used to be part of Mulik until this whole dispute happened, and it seems like now it doesn't really draw borders, so I'm having a little bit hard time conceptualizing it, but I think the border is with the river there?
Possibly.
Maybe it's even lower. Maybe it's below the Freedom Pass, but it's huge. It's massive. It's the most important whatever ever. And the people in Nippur and Belwar are buying lamp oil, essentially, from them. And it's a huge import because, lamp oil, that makes sense. So she creates an invention called Firelight, which is basically you can have red magic and, oh my gosh, there's more fish in the ocean. Okay, sorry. She creates a red magic. So you basically have a fire in an orb, like a glass orb, and you can use that for light instead of firelight. So this dude who has this massive country, who believes in the old ways of things like bloodletting with goats, and believes that the major 4 elemental gods, so red, green, blue, and yellow, are the top of the top, and everybody else sucks. And that's kind of how their society is set up, to oppress those of other types. And then untouchables, which I like because, Hindu. But the untouchables are people that don't have magic because they're not touched, so they don't have a touch, so they don't have a henna sleeve, basically, are below that. So they're the worst in society. And so his country is really repressive versus Nippur or Belware, where magic types are more open. You learn there's still definitely things where there's inequality. I think it's Nippur kind of has some patriarchy going on, and then you learn the island that Audra's mother comes from is heavily patriarchal. So there are other divisions, but not based on magic as much. There is in Nippur, if you can cast more magic, you're more important. And if you can cast less magic, you're less important. I don't think that's how Belware is, though. Anyway, the point is, Audra's trying to help the lowest part of society, the untouchables, have things and not have to rely on Mulik.
Mm-hmm.
So he is the villainous villain who, I'm not going to say that because I've read way worse villains, but he's the villain. So he's not happy about that.
Is it just me, though? The 4 elementals or the superior run seems kind of stupid when we go through this whole book, and during any fighting, orange and purple is used the most.
Oh, yeah. I think the point is it's stupid.
Because I'm over here, you mentioned blue magic to me today, and I was just like, I don't even remember blue magic actually being used, except for the Fortes where their smoke is blue.
I had to remind you that Cage Casters had it.
Yeah, because every single fight was either orange, purple, red, white, or something else.
And I think that's the thing, though. The elementals can be used in everyday life. The the average person isn't cage casting, isn't at war. There doesn't seem to be a war on. So your average citizen is not fighting, but they are harvesting crops. And you know what helps that? The elements.
I mean, I understand that, but from a perspective of which magic is superior, I would think the ones that would back up combat, violence, authority would be the ones that would come out on top.
Well, this is the one that got me, because it's not necessarily using the magic, because they absolutely use the magic. Mulek is really good at black magic, like shadow magic and all that. It's the fact that he's blessed to be a green forte that makes him superior. If you are blessed to be an orange or a purple or a pink, then you're lesser, versus if you're blessed by those elementals. So you can still use that magic. It's just what God picked you.
I don't know. I'm hoping the next book has a orange forte that's just like a beast of a man who just is going around wrecking people left and right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Rhea's a purple. Yeah, she's purple.
Oh, yeah. She's purple. Yeah. But I'm talking about like orange for physical ability. Could you imagine one that just has the speed of like the Flash or something like this?
I mean, two of the cage casters. One is lightning and the other is streak, which I get, but I would not want my cage caster name to be Streak. Sims can do whatever the heck he wants.
But I think the magic system's pretty cool.
The thing that gets me about them is, why is white a lesser? Because Jotun specifically says, if I was in Mulek, I wouldn't even be allowed to rule because I'm a white forte. It's still an element. You have mountains.
I mean, you have blue water. It's just kind of...
First of all, I think it's a little weird that they separated it to begin with, but it's still an element. It's still a portion of water. It's still helpful.
I think it's weird that white is, in fact, snow, and then you have black that's illusion dark. Why isn't white light?
That would be too obvious. I don't know. She did base some of this on actual mythology, so probably that.
Okay.
But I do have questions. I am also with you on the, I want to be able to control light, but I guess fire, if we want a Shark Boy and Lava Girl this, I mean, yeah, fire is light, but I have questions. I would have done it differently.
I don't know.
I might have switched the colors around. I do think it's interesting that she picked pink for healing, since that is so traditionally a feminine thing. I do think that was accurate.
I actually like it. I like pink.
Well, I like what it represented symbol-wise, because they were like, oh, pink is the most looked down upon if you're a pink forte.
Wait, when?
The whole time. Like, Priscia's over there literally praying to the gods, don't make me a pink forte. Don't make me a pink forte. And then her mom talks about how, oh yeah, when I was in my homeland, the only thing a woman could become is a healer. And so they're so looked down upon. It's only healers. And then in Mulek, like I said, it's not one of the elementals. So I think it's just so situational that it's not considered as powerful.
I remember her saying that Pyre Islands, her becoming a pink forte was super valuable.
Yeah, it was literally the only thing she could do is become a healer.
I guess that's because the cult, yeah, I don't know. I feel like in Belvoir, though, she was more than just a healer.
Oh no, she's very, very helpful. But I love Audra championing pink because she's been in the clinic and she sees what it does. But to your average person, it's not cool. Like, if one of the Avengers' powers was healing, I don't think they would sell very many toys.
Wolverine?
His power is not, a little bit, but he can't just like go around healing other people.
Oh, because that'd be OP.
That would be like saying Deadpool. Yeah, he has regenerative health.
Yeah, because it's ridiculously OP if you can do that.
It's not healing other people. It's just healing yourself, being able to take a bigger punch. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, but that's orange.
I mean, there's literally like an offshoot type of anime or cartoon, whatever, where it has a character, it's like One Punch Man parody sort of stuff, where his power is to heal people and heal himself, and it shows you just how absolutely ridiculous it can be. It's not One Punch, but it's like One Punch.
Okay, well, my point still stands. One of the Avengers' power is literally just healing other people. I don't think they would sell many toys.
Yes.
So I love that Audra champions that cause and is like, no, this is really important. If you don't want to freaking die, kind of need pink fortes. Well, pink magic, I guess. It is the forte thing. It's the being chosen by the gods. That god must be pissed.
The pink one?
How is she not more mad? I feel like the other gods chuckle about it behind closed doors, like, haha, pink fortes. And she's just like mad and secretly planning the world's demise.
Maybe she's just chill.
Even her trial, all the other ones took time. She gets through 4 of the trials. It's been like an hour, and then pink smoke appears, and then and disappears. How do you check pink magic if you're not hurt?
Maybe it was just she's the chillest of the gods, and she's just over here like, yeah, you do you, like a hippie god.
Maybe. Or maybe she's just so freaking busy.
Yes, I can't deal with you.
Like the mom in the clinic, she's like, I do not have time for your crap.
Here, pass, done, get out of here.
I've got work to do.
Yeah.
But that's those guys. So, yeah, that's basically the world building out of the way.
For the most part.
Can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
I like the cage casting.
Yes.
Just as a whole.
So, Audra gets involved in cage casting because her bodyguard got attacked by a gang, who I consider them a shadow organization, but that's beside the point. And so she's like, hey, that's not cool. I'm going to take this gang down. And so she ends up getting involved in cage casting. Basically how it sounds, it's like cage fighting, but magic.
Not exactly. If I hear cage casting, I'm like, oh, so you're a commentator for cage fighting. That's what I think when I hear that.
This is a high fantasy book. You think she's out here commentating on...
That's why I was confused.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what?
Cage casting. You are casting in a cage. Technically a bubble, but bubble casting doesn't sound as cool.
Yeah, but I've watched esports and stuff like that, and I'm used to them calling their casters. They cast the match. So that's what popped up in my head when I heard it, and I was like, well, strange pastime, but okay. And then it turns out that, no, she participates. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she is taking a part in this, and it's underground. It's called the underground. It is literally an underground cage fighting type situation. Probably illegal. I'm guessing it's illegal. They never confirmed, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal. It's a gambling den where people gamble on the fights, and so the gang can launder money through that and get the drug money into circulation. So she gets involved in this, and it is very cool. We get the names of all of the big people, I guess, maybe the only people, and then we only really care about one of them, and it's not even the one she went there for. She went there, she finds out in one of her things that a fighter named Nightcaster is involved in this smuggling Firelight operation.
Wait, we never figured out who Nightcaster was?
No, we figured out who it is because it's literally his fighting name, but he's not important.
Wait, I just threw that in the back of my mind. There were so many other things happening in the book, and I was just like, whatever, but...
I don't even want to count it as a drop subplot. It's a nothing. She gets the name Nightcaster from this guy. She makes the Firelight. She gives it to this guy. This guy is supposed to sell it for a certain amount. She finds that the gang is getting a hold of the Firelight, and she talks to him, and he gets interrogated and whatever, and so they get the name Nightcaster. Nightcaster is the guy that comes up and picks up the Firelight because the guy claims he doesn't deal with the gangs, he doesn't know what you're talking about, he sells to this guy Nightcaster. And Audra immediately is like, well, crap. I know who that is, but I can't tell anybody how I know who that is. So she goes to the cage, goes to the underground, and she's like, well, crap, Nightcaster is a part of this. But you already knew that it was a part of this because it's in Jatin's report that he's Vikram. So you've learned nothing new. And she never goes up and talks to him about it. She just decides that she's going to ask Sims, the proprietor of this place. She's like, I'm going to be really good at fighting, so he'll give me information. So we could have completely skipped Nightcaster as a person. The only thing that he's relevant in is that he gives her trauma for almost sexually assaulting her.
Yeah.
He's dropped out of this book by the 40% mark. And the only reason he gets brought up is because Beckman saved Audra. And so there's this whole thing with Beckman, he becomes a character and he's really important. So Nightcaster gets brought up just to be like, but Beckman saved me. Beckman can't be a bad guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that big of a problem with it.
So the Nightcaster lead was not nearly as much as a lead she acted like it was. It was just supposed to be kind of a
segue.
Foreshadowing to be like, oh no, I know that name. Anyway, cage casting. Now that we've introduced this character, he is not important.
Yeah, I guess what she could have done is when she went to Nalpor and talked to him about the mission and everything, they literally could have just been, at one point, she's like, well, Nightcaster doesn't mean anything. It's just da-da-da-da-da, and then moves on.
Just something. She just got another lead and went down that rabbit hole and forgot all about him.
Yeah, she could have just been like, well, he just works for her, he's a middleman, don't care, blah, blah.
Yeah. It felt like such a revelation. And then if you look back on it, rereading it as I was like, wait a second, why is this shocking?
Yeah, the reaction to the name, I guess, could have been a little bit better too. More of like a disgruntled.
Like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
That guy. Not, no way.
Yeah, the surprise is too much.
Girl, get yourself together. Although, you do learn she's kind of trash at reasoning. She makes a lot of assumptions. She makes an assumption very quickly and then sticks to it. That's happened several times in the book, and I just wanted to smack her. I was like, ask questions! But she's like, no, I have thought of a thought, and that is clearly what is happening here. And I'm just like, ask questions!
That's not convenient to the story.
Ah, girl, it was at least consistent, so it's his personality, but girl, like with Beckman, he was like, I was hired to protect you. I was like, oh my gosh, who hired you? And she's like, I know who hired you. Maharaja Napur never trusted me. And I was like, ask questions! Her mom hired him.
Yeah.
That's a revelation later, only to Audra, because she didn't ask. I mean, it's a revelation because we didn't know who it was, but it's a revelation that it wasn't Napur. For Audra, girl, ask questions. She finds out Kalyan isn't Jatin, and they have a whole conversation, granted, because technically he runs into her, but then sees Jatin and she's like, I'm not talking to you. Like, ask questions. No, Kalyan said you only wanted to be friends, and she's immediately like, only friends? Which is such a teenage thing to do, and I know. That's so accurate to be like, oh, he wants to be friends with you. Ah, dang it, he only wants to be friends with me. Just talk, please, just ask a question.
They're teenagers. They don't know how to communicate yet.
Just ask a dang question, girl.
And by the way, it's Kalyan.
No.
Yes. It's Kalyan.
So that's not gonna happen. There's no way in my dyslexic brain that is gonna happen. So Jatin's guard.
Jotins?
I give up. The prince.
Anyways, I feel so bad for Kalyan, the real one, through this whole thing.
He's so tired. He is 16. He is 2 years younger than this man, and he is so tired with his BS.
He's so exhausted. Man, this guy is way too mature for his age. He is way beyond mature for his age. Oh man, I feel so bad. He's just trying to make it through the day.
He acts like a 25-year-old.
Yes.
I thought he was, and then later, like more than halfway through the book, they mention his backstory, and it's like, oh, he was 2 years younger than me. And I was like, how much BS has Jatin put him through for him to be acting like a 25-year-old at 16? He's so tired. Every scene that they are together, he's just so tired.
What was it, 9 years in academy? That was like 18 for Kalyan.
He was like, those letters to Audra are a bad idea, but I didn't say anything because, it's my job. But he was totally gossiping with Audra when they finally talked together, those two specifically. And he was like, yeah, I thought the letters were a bad idea. I didn't think you should do that. And he mentions a couple other things. He's like, yeah, that was stupid.
He did exactly what I would have done. I would have just came in, I'd be like, okay, listen, this is not my fault.
I am involved in this, but I am not in the planning.
Listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'll be the only one honest with you right now, okay? Everyone else has been lying to you. I'm going to give you the truth here. I didn't like any of this.
This poor man.
This was none of me. Leave me out of it.
My favorite thing is just to enunciate how tired this poor man is. She sees the guard and everyone's like, hey, this is the guard. Because she's been thinking this entire time that the guard is Jatin and Jatin is the guard because they switched places because they were in public and apparently they look eerily similar.
Yes.
So they finally meet and she freaks out knowing this. She runs off. She uses orange magic to run. And so she runs out of the barracks, running across this field and whatever. And for some reason, like a thought strikes her and she stops. And this poor man, the guard just ends up ramming into her full speed. And then they tumble on the ground and whatever. And he's like, I didn't expect you to stop.
Yeah, but even before that, when she was looking for him and she got into the barracks.
He was so tired. He's like, oh, great.
Yeah, he was sharpening his sword and all the guys were like, hey, Kalyan, come out here, there's someone for you. And he sees that it's her and he's like, I'll use their cursing, blood.
Which is so confusing. They even made fun of it in the book where she was like, blood. And they're like, don't curse. And she's like, no, literally, like blood, like my blood right here. I have it all over me. It's kind of funny. You didn't get to see it because of the audiobook. The curse blood is capitalized. Regular blood is lowercase.
Fair.
So you're able to tell the difference. But yeah, he's so tired.
Yeah, the fact that he just did not give a flying, you know what, about tackling her.
Can we agree on a ship?
Huh?
Because you know who else is also tired?
The other guard? Yeah, Rhea?
She is also tired. It works out. If Jatin and Audra get married, their guards are going to be hanging around each other all the time.
I mean...
I'm just saying.
True. Yeah, they probably commiserate with each other over some drinks at a bar.
Although now that I think of it, I think Rhea's like way older. Yeah, she's 20. Never mind, I take it back. Maybe in like 6-7 years. Maybe it's a slow burn. Either that or him and Prisha. They're the same age.
But Prisha's got something with her guard going on.
I think so too.
100%.
Audra says, oh, they tell each other everything and there's whatever. But later on, the scary thing is happening and the guard is holding Prisha.
Yeah.
What did Mulek said? The most accurate thing Mulek said was, it's the guard, isn't it? It's always the guard. Rope bridge theory, man. It works.
Yeah.
One random fun fact. How did you imagine Mulek before you met him? Because I thought of him as like a Weasley. I don't know why Aladdin was on my mind so much, but I thought of him as a Weasley Jafar.
No, that's not how I thought. I thought of him as like a pompous a-hole. Not as conniving.
We get 75% of the way through this book, and then they finally meet Mulek, and she's like, oh yeah, he's handsome. And I'm like, oh, great. I have to completely readjust my mental image.
I had him as an individual who's pompous, prone to hubris, sort of arrogance, stuff like that, but not intelligent and conniving.
Well, you wrong.
Yeah, I didn't have him pictured as like behind the scenes type of character. I had him like front and center, very straightforward, stuff like that. But turned out he was the opposite.
See, I was wrong because I thought he was kind of ugly. You were wrong because you got his whole personality type off. But there is a moment where you kind of wonder when you first meet Mulek, where not first meet him. He's sus as all get out when you first meet him. He needs to work on first appearances. But later on, he's talking to Audra. Well, beside the fact that he casts green smoke and just hits her with it, and she's like, what does that do? And then he just starts talking. My dude!
I asked you a question, sir.
That is sus. And what she thought it was kind of worse, because she thought he could read her mind now. Turns out it's just, I can be manipulative? What magic is that?
Yeah, I want it.
Sus, my dude. But I'm serious. What magic type is that? Is that black magic?
It's black. But
that's illusions. Manipulation isn't necessarily illusion. It's a real thing. I think she does say it's like a really powerful black magic, but I have questions.
If you want to get into details about it, I would think it's an illusion type of thing when he is talking and he's trying to convince you certain lighting or certain tones that come across are more appealing to hear. And so that's kind of what it does. It's like tricking your mind until he is disarming, and it gives him more of a disarming and comforting and understanding appearance in the more subtle ways.
We're going to see more of that next book.
He did say that it doesn't control you. It just makes him a little bit more convincing. Anyways, I was thinking when he brought up the fact that he a single arm touched as well.
He is also a single arm touch. That's crazy. I wonder if that's true.
I was like, wait a moment. What's going on here? Excuse me. Who's lying here? Was it actually Nalpor that's in line all this time? Why wouldn't he just mention this, you know?
Yeah, that I wonder.
Because why wouldn't... She's obviously voiced to Nalpor many times that she is concerned or shows concern over this test that she has to go.
Oh, yeah. Why doesn't he bring it up?
Why doesn't he be like, well, my brother over here...
Well, brother-in-law.
Or brother-in-law over here who rules the largest nation in the land. Guess what? He only has...
Hey, don't worry, kid. You think you suck at magic? My super evil brother-in-law is manipulative and terrible to his people. He's a one-touch too. Like, I kind of get it.
Okay.
He's not your role model.
I guess, but you could just be like, well, my brother-in-law doesn't have any trouble with his magic.
She could have mentioned there are rulers.
Yeah, okay. Could have been more subtle about it.
That are one touch. Because he knows. He picks it up immediately. Mulik is going to go for Audra because of her Firelight invention. And so I wonder how early on he was like, I don't want her and Mulik to hang out or talk or anything. I have no trust in this man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did say his wife kind of ratted out on her brother a lot because that's how he knew that the manipulation thing.
Yeah.
So he probably
Knew he was a bad guy. So I'm curious. I don't know. But he is apparently a one touch. Probably. I would be shocked if he lied, but also not really, because maybe he used illusion magic to erase half of it. But I'm going to continue on like he said he used a truth to build his lies. Because he's all, oh, I can't even get my people to stop bloodletting, and I can't get them to stop thinking the 4 elementals are the most important. All my people are important. And why would I want your Firelight? My Rajas would murder me if they entered the country. Really, you should focus on the person that told you that I was guilty. I bet it was my brother-in-law, which was not a far stretch.
Yeah.
It's like, I bet it was my brother-in-law. Also, I bet you're in love with the guard and not Jatin. So you should marry me. He has proficiency in deception, but his charisma is not particularly high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was kind of a stretch. Be like, yeah, all these things, da 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 da, and then marry me.
And she's a little creeped out because he's a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
And he does the thing where, but guys in books like this always say, not the love interest. The love interest says other dumb things. But guys that are like, oh, we should get married, or, oh, we're engaged to be married, but it's not the actual love interest. They say the thing that they always think is super great, but always gives me complete throw-up vibes. Don't worry, I won't touch you until you're ready.
Yeah, that's not a good line at all.
That implies there will be a ready.
I just don't understand that line. I will back you up 100% on that.
It's so gross.
That's just like the worst thing you could possibly say.
Why did your brain think I got this? She's worried because I'm a gross 40-year-old man. I will imply that our sex will still happen. It'll just be consensual. Because that will totally happen. He sucks at this. He literally shows up at the last minute, sits down with the parents, and is like, I am offering my hand in marriage. And the parents are like, she has been engaged for like 10 years.
Maybe he relies on that spell too much.
It's like, cool, but I'm cooler, so you should pick me. And they're like, well, we're gonna let Audra pick. And so his attempts at convincing Audra is literally, hey, my people kind of suck, but you could help me. You could change me, kind of vibes. But you could help me rule the world. I'm not gonna let you be a ruler, even though that totally is gonna fall by the wayside when she realizes it's Jatin, but that's beside the point. She's already been doing a lot with the... Anyway, that's a whole side thing. So he plays for, oh, you'll have power with me, but then he throws in that line. It's not good.
Maybe he just relies on that spell he used too much, and he needs to get out and actually try boost that charisma. I don't know.
A day late and $1 short, my man. I kind of wonder if this proposal of marriage had happened earlier, if I would be more interested in it as she meets Jatin and she's like, oh, he's uncaring, he's unfeeling. Maybe play a little bit more into the I hate Jatin, but hey, maybe I could help. I don't know. Maybe it would be more of a thing, but it literally is. He just scoops in to be like, you should marry me. And she says, no. And he's like, cool, I'm going to go blow up your mountain. Not great. I wonder if he's been married before. I've thought about that now several times. Of if he has been married before and she has just died under mysterious circumstances, you know? Or if he's literally a 40-year-old man with no heir thinking he's gonna get with an 18-year-old.
I don't know.
Okay, so my least favorite villain trope that makes no sense, maybe is one of those people that thought, oh, the heir could replace me, so if I don't have an heir, no one can replace me, you know? Let me kill all my heirs so they can't kill me kind of vibes, but just don't have an heir. I don't know. I have questions about this man's backstory that I did not think I would have. I thought I had a lot of this man's backstory to begin with, but apparently not. Anyway, so he blows up a volcano with Firelight.
I mean, he just starts it.
That's kind of it. I feel like we went from cage casting, and then Jatin gets involved in cage casting, so he's doing the thing.
Well, do you want to talk about the fact that Jatin and Audra are like, we're going to go get him, get to the palace? Oh, he's just gone.
Okay, we'll get there. Put a pin in that. We will get there. Their mom has a high charisma. That woman is proficient in persuasion for sure. But
really?
We will get there. Don't worry. That is an actual plot point. The plot points are the cage fight, and then they're like, oh, let's do this operation. So let's stop the smuggling operation on Pier 16. They go there. There's a whole fight. It's a whole thing. She finds out that the guards are corrupt.
Did we ever figure out what happened on the pier that he just all of a sudden started attacking?
No, it sounded like they just saw him casually, and then they just started attacking him, because we get to his point of view, and he was like, I could have been anyone. But also, later on, that's contradicted by the fact when the second or third or whatever time they go there to get the Firelight from under the pier, she's like, if anyone shows up here, they're sus. So maybe Jatin just wasn't thinking in spy?
I just wanted to figure out what happened. Was that just a natural 1 stealth check or something? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it was.
All right.
But they do that Hopper operation. They find out that the guards are corrupt. Audra doesn't really do anything with that information. They burn the drugs, because there's also a drug epidemic going on called bloodlust, not bloodlust, like my dyslexia kept trying to tell me it was. Bloodlust. And the problem with it is it has the short-term effect of making you really basically an upper, but it drains your magic and basically takes your magic from you by the end of it in a very painful and suffering way. So that is going on kind of in the background because, corruption, drugs, yeah, about right. So they burn all the drugs, but the Firelight are in wicker baskets, and instead of, as Jatin points out, making a clean cut, she just destroys the wicker baskets, and then she's like, oh dang, how are we ever going to carry all of these? If only there were a basket that you could use, carry them out without as much suspicion because they're in a wicker basket? No? Okay. When she goes there, she puts them all in her pack, as many as she can have, because they've destroyed these wicker baskets.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's really short-sighted, and I had to remind myself that she's not me.
I'm just, all this Firelight, and I'm over here like, yeah, sell them for 3 copper. Can't you just go around and give it to people who need them?
I honestly thought about that because the business, oh goodness, Hunter. The business model of this operation, Audra makes Firelight and distributes it to one distributor in one of the Compass Rose villages, literally North Village, East Village, West Village, South Village. It's small country, I guess that works. So we mainly hang out in the East Village, a little close to North Village, but mainly East Village. And so we only know about the distributor in East Village, but she has one distributor in each of the villages that she goes to and gives them to, I believe, for free. And so that way they can sell them for 3 copper, basically being a distributor. So, upping the price a little bit. Middleman. You find out through a little boy who tries to steal one, that's how Jatin and Audra end up finding each other. She almost dies via elephant. That they're being sold for 5 silver, which is ridiculous because they point out a loaf of bread is like 5 copper. So it's supposed to be super cheap, and then it's very expensive. And so that's why she's like, this is sus, and talks to the distributor and gets Nightcaster, and then that whole line. So, plot points. We have a distributor that's corrupt. Hey, I'm gonna go to the cage fights. We interrupt the shipment. We don't really have another solid plot point until they decide to break into the warehouse many chapters later.
Yeah, they're just kind of doing stuff in the sideline.
It's a romantasy. They're just being couples and doing stuff together and hanging out and watching the warehouse, but not really. They've also gotten jumped several times, casually thrown in there, so they're not doing it well.
Yeah.
I'm also curious how big the villages are, because in my mind, I was like, okay, like a village, much smaller than a city, kind of rural. There are so many Vikrin. How do they have that many people? Audra and him are just casually like, oh, we killed 11 people because they jumped us.
Just casually killed the 11 people. All right. Probably left the bodies.
At the boat, they killed like double digits worth of people.
Yeah.
And then you get into the warehouse and there's like 40 or 50 of them just in the warehouse, not even running around and doing other things.
Well, we do learn that they are being backed by Mulek, so it could be some of his soldiers.
This is true.
Well, I also had another thing that just popped in my head. If they've been killing that many people, her father was very, very generous to be like, we'll try a dialogue with the Red Woman.
Well, the reason is because they only kill the gang members.
Yeah, but do you really think that they know? They just found 11 bodies just out in the streets.
True.
They don't know if they're connected or not.
When they describe what they're wearing, it's literally just like dark clothing.
They don't know if they're actually part of the drug trade or not. They just found 11 bodies. I don't know.
They have to be Mulek's people because no one's in an uproar that their cousin, son, brother, uncle is killed.
Yeah.
Nope. Maybe they are just Mulek people. I guess that's what we have decided at this point. So the warehouse is important, sort of, because they almost get caught by the guard, and one of the guard is Heron, who is Prisha's guard, who we definitely think have a thing for each other. Why him? Shouldn't he be with Prisha? Isn't that kind of the point? Because you find out the mom sent him, because you find out mom sent Beckman and then sent these guards. Was the point that he kind of sucks as a guard? Like a more experienced guard would actually take them in for questioning, and so she's like, Heron can be talked to.
I think it's because before this, Audra had the conversation with her parents, and they were talking about the Red Woman, and Prisha was like, I like the Red Woman. So I guess the thought process is that he's simping for the princess so much that he's going to be on the side of the Red Woman.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely that he's going to do anything that will harm her.
Because he doesn't necessarily end up on her side, but he's like, okay, you have 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I think that's it, where it's like, oh yeah, you're simping for my daughter so much that, yeah, you probably not going to harm the Red Woman.
Or, if it came to it, that Audra could definitely take him out.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's that too, possibly, but the problem would be is it would cause a commotion. I feel like you wouldn't go down too easy.
I don't know, you can just cast webs, apparently.
I don't know.
So it gives them 15 minutes. They go in, they kind of suck at it. They can't find the Firelight, and then they leave when the guards break in. That's the warehouse that we've been building up for several chapters.
Mm-hmm. It's just a big old fight.
And at one point, when they were under the pier, they heard the shadow operator, but then they see him paragliding off. And so Adra almost kills herself trying to get in the air. By the way, they have sky gliders. They can fly. That's pretty cool.
Did they ever describe them? Are they like Avatar, the Last Airbender type of gliders? Is that what we're dealing with?
So they kind of get described when they're first introduced, when Jatun is flying back. And then different styles kind of get introduced when they go to the sky glider guy after this event, actually.
Because she was riding with him at one point and she had to like cling to him.
So no, I think more of hang glider, I bet.
Oh, I know it's not like this, but windsurfing is what I would like. If I had a sky glider, that's what I would want. Ooh, like Treasure Planet, because that would have been so much cooler.
I always thought of it as hang gliders, which they seem to be.
Makes sense.
But you find out that it's an illusion, and that's why he could go into the sky. And it was like, that was actually really clever to try to get her killed by being impulsive. That takes some knowing your enemy. A little bit impressed there. But my thing is, and maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, but she meets Mulek after that and doesn't seem to recognize his voice. So there's somebody out there that is running this. And granted, Mulek's like the main guy in charge, but we still got a shadow guy running around.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good at dark magic. Maybe he just changed his voice.
Hopefully that'll come up next book. He was probably way cooler than Mulek was to me. So if it's just the same person, I'm going to be like, oh.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't really have an interest in the second book.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of happy with this book. The couple got together. They're happy. They're a team. Saved the day. Yeah, there's an evil villain off in the distance, but whatever.
But I have questions. You're not getting out of this. I have questions. I'm sorry.
I know. It's fine. It's just, I don't know.
It wrapped up very nicely to you?
Yeah, it just wrapped up.
See, and here's the thing. A year ago, I read the audiobook. And I was like, that was really good. I enjoyed that. And I had a couple other books I probably had to do right away because I'm always borrowing books and then waiting until they're due to read them. But I never went back and read the second one. Like, I never felt the need to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. I need to get back to that series.
Yeah, there's no cliffhanger.
So I think I felt the same way as you until I read it physically. And now I have questions that I don't think I picked up the first time around when I audiobooked it. Because I forgot the ending. I think you can tell in my notes when I started being like, oh, here are my thoughts, here are my thoughts, here are my thoughts. And then I enter, like, when I start asking questions, I'm like, what is happening? What is this? And then I'll have theories and stuff as I went along because I literally forgot the ending of this book. Because the volcano's a big deal, but also it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, the one note. Blood, no, you can't end here. Why haven't I read the second book? Is literally one of your notes.
Yeah. I'm like, why didn't I read the second book?
I don't know. It all kind of wrapped up nicely for me.
It does.
And there's no cliffhanger, really.
It's like you said, the couple's even happy.
Yeah.
The second to last chapter is them hanging out and being like, hey, we probably shouldn't be, or Audra, once again, girl, the commitment issues need to work on. But her gut reaction every time is, oh, we can only be partners. And Justin's like, girl, nah.
Nah, girl, you stuck with me now.
Well, he was like, we are either nothing or we are together. There is no this in-between nonsense.
But he was definitely like, we're either nothing or something. I choose something, so we're something.
And she's like, well, if you insist. My girl voice.
She was so insecure.
But yeah, so it ends with them being like, cool, we're going to stand up together. We're going to figure this out. Even though there's nasty rumors about me and I'm the villain and you're the hero, we're still going to work together and figure this out. And then the last chapter is 1 page of her just being like, no matter what happens, I'm going to figure this out. And it really is a good ending.
Yeah, it really is. I will say, I really like how she is a complete BA, 100%. But I like how it does show her that she is still just a little bit insecure about some things. She is concerned when she goes and is like, well, we can be just partners, something like that. She's got her own insecurities, even if she's a total BA.
Well, I like her because, yeah, she's that. She has her insecurities. I like that.
It makes her more relatable. That's what I really like about her.
But she's not the stereotype where it's like, oh, if you're going to be a girl and you're good in fighting, then you only hang out with guys and other girls are bleh and whatever. No, she's like, Zara's good at dressing me up, and she is. She's very good at it. It's not my thing, but she's good at it. I'd rather wear sky pants. I do not know why Rhea was so on a tear about her not wearing sky pants, like me as a person. But she was just like, yeah, that's Rhea. That's you. It wasn't used as a club to tear other people down, to be like, oh, she's cool, but other girls are, ugh.
Yeah.
I like it.
I just really like that you can have the two main characters who are really cool, powerful characters, but then they do still have their insecurities and flaws. Their specific flaws and their strengths make it a little bit more relatable. I like them. I can connect with them a little bit better than other characters, like the previous book.
Funny, I was thinking of Lazov and her crew. The previous 4 books.
Oh my gosh. Sam, really? Lizel?
Yeah.
Lizal.
Look.
I didn't know what you were talking about because you couldn't pronounce the names.
I swear to goodness you never corrected me in those episodes.
Oh my god.
Anyway, the point is, Audra just never feels stupid.
She's impulsive, but she'll make a mistake like that and then immediately be like, well, that was a bad idea. How am I going to get myself out of this?
Yeah, immediate consequences, like, dang it, I should have thought that. But it's literally, her thing is she just needs to stop and think. If she thought about it, she'd be fine.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if this is like a first-time authored thing or whatever. I very much enjoy good, fleshed-out villains. Really, really like a creative, good villain.
Oh no, Mulek is kind of like meh.
He's so basic.
He is serving a purpose. We kind of see him, then he skedaddles off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the more I think about Mulek, that's why I'm hoping there's another guy. Now
looking back on it, that's probably another reason why I'm not jumping at the second book, trying to be like, oh, we need to read the second book immediately. And I'm over here like, but it's obviously going to be about Mulek, and I don't care.
But, I don't know, reading it physically, I feel different. We got to the part where, at the very end, summarize real quick, they've been wondering where the heck the Firelight is going. Apparently, it's going into the mountain. There's literally just a giant mountain, and all of these places are villages surround it and cities. And he's just been throwing it in there, and it's this dormant volcano. And so he uses all this firelight, and then he uses his green magic to make the mountain explode.
So what happens? Do they just throw it into the lava?
It's a dormant volcano, so there probably are still lava tunnels of some sort that they probably use to throw it in there.
Or does the Firelight need to be somewhere safe to where it's fueling it or something?
It was in the mountain.
But I feel like the part of the spell is it's got to be contained within this orb. And if you destroy the orb, the Firelight just kind of out.
There's nowhere that it says that. She even points out that she purposely made it so it can't be tampered with. It's going to burn for 2 months. The only reason it's in an orb is so it's convenient to carry and hold around. Still fire.
It just seems kind of weird that you can just toss it into lava and it still works.
Well, think about when it's made. She literally makes it, and the way she tests it is if she can't blow it out. If she can't blow it out, then it's perfect. You put it in the orb, you get it sent off. Because Rhea kept making them, and then it gets blown out. And she's like, great, well, that doesn't count. And so she keeps trying. So the point of Firelight is it doesn't blow out for 2 months.
I understand that. I just don't understand how once the orb is destroyed, taken by the lava, and the flame goes into the lava, magic doesn't just disperse.
It's a glass orb. It's nothing to do with the Firelight.
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense because if you take any other spell and you just send it out there, it's going to disperse. In my mind, it doesn't make any sense why it would persist.
But that's the point of Firelight, that it lasts 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
You're overthinking this. It's the candle holder. It is not the candle.
I don't know. I think that how the magic should work is when it hits the lava, if you put a bunch in at one time, it's big explosion, but it doesn't go for 2 months. It's just that and done sort of deal.
Well, she did imply that it was a lot. And even when she was claiming it, it was a lot of Firelight.
Yeah, so one really, really big explosion. I think he should have blown up the palace.
I'm a little surprised that it would still go for 2 months, because that is still pretty powerful, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, oh, it's going to last for like a week or something like that. But it's going to last 2 months, because guess what, Hunter? Back in your face, it's magic.
Yeah, true.
Do not ask geology questions. This is magic. Which, by the way, more people should have absolutely come up with the fact that she is the Red Woman, or at least connected her to Jay Smoke, because it was the Red Woman with the mask and whatever, but then you added the white guy, and it's like, I wonder who recently became a cage caster who's hanging out with the Red Forte, but also his name on the wanted poster is Knight. His cage name is the White Knight. How does no one pick together that they're related? But at the end, at the volcano, she does what I thought she was going to have to do. They try to treat it like a normal eruption because they can help with natural disasters. It doesn't work. They almost die. Jatin blacks out for the first time because he burns out, which is basically you've used too much magic and your body is retaliating. So she recalls her Firelight, which she does in an earlier scene with Basu, which is an insane amount of power at this point because it seems like they've been stealing all the Firelight to go into this volcano or whatever. So she recalls it. She basically blacks out because it's like being hit with an arrow, as it is described. It physically hurts her to reclaim the magic because it's probably very unnatural. It seems like no one's ever done that before. So she gets all the Firelight back, or at least a lot of it. And my question is, he was just hanging out. I knew he was still there, but he just like appears on the volcano. I guess he's just watching out or whatever, but he appears on the volcano right as she's about to pass out from the Firelight. And he's like, cool, I'm here now. And she's like, crap. And then she passes out. He says later to her, I needed you alive because she's the scapegoat. And Jatin is the innocent bystander that got manipulated. I have questions about that.
Yeah, why didn't he ruin his?
Maybe he just knew that story would go down better, but I feel like you want to get both of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because what's stopping Jatin from figuring out a way to clear her name? Because he's still respected by the people. But anyway, he's using his forces to help the area and whatever. And even, I wanted to puke when Maharaja Nipur was like, oh, he saved us. He saved us all. I was like, that guy? No. Like I said, I forgot the ending of this book. But apparently he's very good at the political game. Everyone believes it. I'm not terribly surprised because you look at people and there's a really good line where they talk about people are more likely to absorb darkness than lightness. Like they can't actually believe she's doing this from the goodness of her heart. So obviously she's corrupt. That's an easier story to believe every single time. And it's like, I see it. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good statement about people.
I don't know.
But it's like you said, she still has all her friends. All of her friends believe in her. Her parents believe in her. Her fiance and his dad believe in her. His dad believes that the Mulek stopped the volcano, but I feel like that can be righted really easily. And then they're together at the end, and they're like, we're gonna solve this. It wraps up really quick. There are rumors that she is corrupt, that the people believe it. We don't even know how long she and Jatin were passed out. That's just kind of skipped over. It seems like a good amount of time.
It was a few days.
but we don't know that for sure.
At the very end, it shows that they are still using their personas as the White Knight and Red Woman.
Yes, and okay, this is where I feel dumb. I should have noticed sooner, because he's like, hey, I've created this invention myself, because she invented Firelight, so he's like, I created this invention, and he basically invents the bat symbol, but it's a thing of pink smoke, and so it's like, hey, I need your help, Red Woman and Knight, which I didn't catch that it was specifically the Red Woman and Knight until they put their mask on, but little bits of the Incredibles ending for you, and it's pink, and I was like, oh my gosh, duh, her favorite color is pink because it's red and white mixed together. Dang it, the symbolism was obvious. But it took it to the end where it's like, hey, it's pink, where I'm like, oh, duh. Because she has a big deal about if your favorite color is the color that you cast, you're kind of full of yourself. And so her cast is red, but her favorite color is pink, and it's supposed to symbolize that he's white and she's red, and together they're pink. Okay, gosh, dang it.
I'm glad you figured that out at the end.
But yeah, general thoughts. I agree with you. When I read the audiobook, I did not feel a rush to get the second one, and so I got distracted and did a bunch of other things for a year. But now that I've read it physically, I have so many more questions. I feel like I paid better attention this time, which I always do reading physically. And I want to know more about Mulik because I'm like, hey, I literally forgot you were in this book. But now that I've talked to you for a little bit, I have questions. Why do you both suck and not suck at the political game? Why did you immediately go, cool, plan, I don't know, like D didn't work, so I'm going to go back to plan A, which was always to blow up the volcano. But I was just going to follow this little side quest, see what happens. I have so many questions about this man. Also, I kind of hate him now more than I did in the book, because like I said, he's kind of meh, but the more I think about him, the more I'm just like, what happens? I guess that's more my question. Like, if you defeat the villain here, what happens? He doesn't have an heir, supposedly.
Now, I know you said that the map is pretty big. I'm looking at it. Is this...
I meant, if you look at Nippur's capital, it is tiny in comparison to the map. You have to zoom in to see Azure Palace is over here.
Oh, okay.
So that's more what I meant scale-wise, but it itself isn't that big. It'd probably be the size of Australia, if that, probably smaller.
Well, what I was going to get at was... Is it big enough for a whole nother book?
I mean, we've only been in 2 cities.
Yeah, but I feel like we spent a lot of time building this world in this book. What's new outside of all that? Because the rest of this kind of looks like just different biomes. What's going to be the new exciting thing?
Yeah, I wish they had political borders really bad. I'm curious about Mata, which seems to be the capital of Mulik. The way it's kind of circular setup, I have questions about that. But we haven't even touched Agsa, or whatever it is. Maybe even going to the Pier Islands and seeing what her mother had to put up when she was a child or something like that. Or we could go to the 8 other cities in Nippur. We haven't even gone to the Dome, which is the prison for her city. Let's see. After a magical eruption devastates the kingdom of Belware, royal heir Audra is falsely accused of masterminding the destruction and forced to stand trial in front of her people. Ooh, that's interesting. Who see her as a monster. Audra's punishment, imprisonment in the Dome, an impenetrable magic-infused fortress filled with Belware's nastiest criminals, many of whom Audra put there herself. Ooh. And they want her to pay. Jotun, the royal heir of Nippur, has been Audra's betrothed, nemesis, and fellow masked vigilante, but now he's just a boy waiting to ask her the biggest questions of their lives. First, though, he's going to have to do the impossible, break Audra out of the Dome, and he won't be able to do it without help from the unlikeliest of sources, a girl from his past with a secret that could put them all at risk. Time is running out, and the horrors Audra faces in the Dome are second only to the plot to destabilize and destroy their kingdoms, but Audra and Jotun have saved the world once already. Now, can they save themselves?
Wait a moment. If that's the way she was gonna go, why didn't she end this book way differently?
To be honest, she probably didn't know she was going to get a second book.
I guess.
Because imagine if she had left on that kind of cliffhanger and didn't get a second book. People would be mad, because they always are. Poor R.R. Martin over there, he's going to die before this next book comes out, but people are still on him like a crazy person. So I honestly think it's probably because she didn't know she was going to get a second book when she was selling this book to publishing.
I guess. I think that's stupid. I think you should do what you want. I mean, I guess that solves my question.
I was right. We're going to the dome. There's a girl with a secret from her past. Probably some girl from the academy. So maybe she's like an AGSA. So we get to like hang out with that. I'm excited. I don't care about you. You're reading it anyway. So
No. It's fine. It's fine. It's just at the end of this book, the only thing that I see that they're facing are rumors. But from that synopsis of the second book, she's actually going up against trial.
yeah, she's going on trial with her people. And so we're probably going to learn real well what the things are being said against her. So one question for the author, two-parter. I want to know what her favorite color is and what would she cast?
That's a good question.
Because your favorite color is blue, and you're like, yeah, I would cast blue.
Just for the surfing.
So if you could also cast blue, what forte would you be? Orange?
It wouldn't be red. It wouldn't be pink. Wouldn't be green or yellow. It would probably be purple or black. I would lean towards purple.
See, my favorite color is purple, but I don't think I would want to be a purple forte. Because like I said, the everyday, what I'm doing, I would like to still be able to cast purple magics. I don't feel the need to be a purple forte.
If you had to be a 4, like the average person.
In my everyday life currently, I see the most use out of black magic. Like invisibility and all that stuff. I've always been the person where it's like, do you want to fly or do you want invisibility? I want invisibility.
So what are the 4 that you would go with?
I would want my forte to be black, so that's one of them.
Okay.
Oh, if I can only have 4, then I probably wouldn't do purple. It wouldn't come up enough. I can buy weapons. Gonna be completely honest, healing would have come in very handy in my lifetime. Healing would be great. I feel like I'm not gonna pick any of the elemental ones. Orange would be good because I can beef myself up to do whatever I want to do.
To 3.
Fire.
Red. One of the elementals.
If I was gonna be a bender, I'd be a fire bender.
Yeah, there you go.
And that way, I never have to be cold again.
That actually sounds amazing. I'm kind of sold on that. Let's see. You've sold me on the red. I mean, I would do black 100%. Black, purple, orange.
And orange?
Blue. Wait, no.
Oh yeah, you would have to remove one for blue.
Okay, take out orange.
I'd be stronger than you.
Dang, orange is so good, though.
It is. Start with blue and redo it yourself again.
So blue, purple, because purple's forte.
See, I had to give up purple.
Nah, I want purple. Purple, orange. And then one more. Do I give up black?
Are you going to give up black instead of just getting a blanket?
Do I give up black for pink for the healing?
Oh, pink's really good.
It's so good. Yeah, I gotta give it up for the pink.
Like, you can fix broken ribs really fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Going orange, purple, pink, and blue.
See, what you need to do is to date a red caster. There you go.
There we go. That's the loophole. Boom. Done.
I'm self-sufficient, though.
Strong, independent.
That's right. That don't need no blanket.
Maybe I'll just live somewhere where it's warm.
Maybe that's the other thing, because she was using her red magic to unwarm the lava, like to stop the lava, so you could do it both ways.
Oh, that's tough choosing just 4. I mean, pink is just so good. Just being able to heal yourself.
It's so good. These people are idiots. Then you could be surfing and you could really do big waves and do stupid stuff, and then you'd be like, okay, I'll fix myself with pink magic.
As long as I don't instantly die off a 60-foot wave, yes.
Don't make a 60-foot wave then, you idiot.
They're fun.
Fine, die. I don't care. You need yellow. Take one of them back. You need yellow. You need to be able to fly.
Wait. With my purple magic, though, I can make a surfboard.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could make like a shield kind of situation.
Yeah. Orange for the physical ability, purple for the surfboard, blue for the wave, and then pink if I ever get hurt. That's the perfect surfer combo. Why did the 2 main characters get together in the very first book? I feel like should have dragged it out more.
I feel like if they tried any more than that, it would just be maybe not such a satisfying end. Maybe leave it up a little bit to be like, oh, he's the hero, I'm the villain, what are we gonna do? But I wouldn't want to see this dragged out for another book.
Okay.
Rating. I'd give this rainbow out of 10. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's exciting. Seeing it in real life is fun, aka as a physical book instead of an audiobook. It's good. I liked it.
I liked it too. Fire and ice out of 10, because that's basically what this is. It's a fire-ice combo where they enemies to lovers naturally against each other, but then come together. I don't know. I thought it was good, but it's not something that was just like downright amazing.
Read again. Yeah, I would. I think I'm gonna buy it. Not right away, but I could definitely see this being like I want this kind of vibe. Like, I want to read these tropes. And I'd be like, this is the book for me. It probably depends a little. I don't know. There are series where I've read and I've been like, I love this book. But if the next book sucks, I will never read this book ever again. But you're right. It's so self-contained. If I hate the next book, I can just pretend like this is the only book.
I was literally about to say that.
So I'm safe.
So I was literally about to say, yes, I would read this again, and it doesn't matter how the next book goes. This is a good standalone, and it's, like you said, self-contained, to where, like, I would suggest this to a friend and be like, hey, you don't even have to read the second book if you don't want to, because it's just a good one-off.
But have you read this book? What type of caster would you be? Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Cast in Firelight with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Black Coffee, originally written by Agatha Christie and adopted into a novel by Charles Osborne. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Hunter Mallard.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skull production. Check us out on TikTok or Instagram to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.